So as I was looking at the lyrics, we don't talk a lot about time in Science of Mind, and certainly when we're creating things, it's never something's coming. Oh, anybody know that tune? It's never that something is coming. It's always that, yes, thank you, West Side Story little remark. I got it in early. That was like 1 minute into my talk. We never teach that we are waiting for something. We teach that, and so it is. When we're done demonstrating, we're done creating what we want, we say, and so it is, not, and so it will come. So I was looking at this song, but then I was thinking about it in a more quantum-y way. Quantum-y, if that's even a word. It's not. And I got to thinking, I was like, well, wait. Process. Process is really important. So I pulled up this quote first. Looks a little bit like Lexi. Never underestimate your effort, no matter how little. Every effort, little or great, is a step closer towards the actualization of your dreams. And that is Chinoye Chidoliu. I had to look that up, obviously. This is a Nigerian poet. And I thought about this. I was like, we sometimes try to bite everything off at once, even when we talk about I am God. Do you know why so many people have a problem with the concept of I am God? Because it's too big for them to comprehend. It's too big to believe I am all of this, right? We have to work ourselves. We have to go through the process of understanding what exactly does that mean. It means not that I am all of this at all the time, carrying around the weight of the world and the responsibility of ages with me everywhere. No, it's that I am that which thou art, from the Bible. I am that energy that's flowing through me. Get with the program. That's what I am God really means. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, so process, okay, so we should talk about what does it mean when we talk about process? What happens along the way of you living your life? Now just think about your week even. What happens along the way that something happens and you take a turn? Something happens in your life and, wait a minute, I need to reevaluate this. I have to look at this. Something shows up, a relationship shows up, or a relationship ends, or a job shows up, or a job ends, or a health issue comes up, or you get healthy again. Right? Whatever that is, it's a process, isn't it? And every day we're learning more about ourselves. We're learning more about how we react. We're learning more about what the universe is all about, how this law works, this thing called life, how it works. So it is about process. And what I loved about this quote is that, and your song, Robbie, is that the dream coming is okay, but I have to be taking steps towards that dream. I have to have decided what the dream is. What do I really want? Which is why I said, what do you want? What do you want? So I have to know that and then take my steps towards it. And it's all part of the process. And I think we get caught up in this idea of it's all done, it's all done. And then sometimes we're all done and we don't do anything else. And we're waiting for something to happen. And we're putting the responsibility somewhere else or on someone else or something else to make us happy, to make us have fun. Like Amy was saying, she brings the fun. We need to bring the dream. We need to bring the aspirations. We need to bring the design that we want to live by. So that's where I got with your song, Robbie. So I was like, yeah, you know what? There is a dream coming. I have a giant dream of what my life is. And I love my life now. I love what I get to do. But there's so much more that I want to do. So am I going to walk around worrying or thinking about what I'm not getting to do? Or am I going to be in the process and know that that dream is right here, right now with me at all times, no matter what? But it's being realized as I move, as I evolve, as I continue to grow and take steps purposefully, decisively, you know? So I pulled up this Joe Dispenza quote. When you visualize your future, you're giving your brain a map. But when you feel it emotionally, you're already living it. So I think both of these are very important, and that's from becoming supernatural. I think both of these are important. Giving your brain a map is really important to say, here's what I want to do, here's where I want to go. Not necessarily how you're going to get there, but knowing here's where this is where I want to be. This is where I want to go in this moment. And then start living it, which is what we're doing a lot in Q Vitality. Living the future, futurizing our emotions so that we can feel what it feels like. I have to tell you, this weekend, this has been a fabulous week to get to go back 35 years and play a character that I wrote 35 years ago, and to find things in the script that I didn't find 35 years ago because I was only how old was I? 35? Yeah, 35. Half of 70. So, 35 years ago, there were things I didn't see in the script that I found. In fact, Friday, while we were reading the script, I found something at the end of the show that caught me so off guard, I couldn't speak. I just started crying. I couldn't speak. And I was like, was that there before, or did I just miss it? Of course, I missed it. I was 35. I'm 70. I actually see a lot more now in that than I did then. So it was a great week, really a great week. And I can say this, I started to feel things that I hadn't felt in a long time, and started to feel things about writing and what I love doing. And it just inspired me in such a great way, the feeling of it. I had the idea of it a lot, but the feeling. So it's one thing to have the idea, it's another thing to let yourself feel it. Don't be afraid to feel what it feels like to be in the body of that person that dream is a coming, right? So something else happened this week that was extraordinarily challenging. I woke up on Wednesday morning and turned my computer on, and it was an exclamation point with a circle around it saying, "Call support." And probably like most of you, my computer is pretty important to my life. Everything I do is on that computer. And I was, first you turn your computer off, then you turn it back on about 5 times, just so you can see that exclamation point. And then your heart starts going and you're like, oh no, I'm in the middle of something. Everything I have. And I said, it's okay, it's all backed up to the iCloud, it's all fine. And so then I call support, and I'm on the phone, and they're putting things into my computer remotely, and then finally a sign came up and just said, error. And I was like, my heart really, it was really like very stressful. But I kept saying to myself, everything unfolds perfectly. My life is unfolding perfectly. But you know what was funny? I was just saying the words. I wasn't quite feeling it. So I really got the distinction between when I say something and when I mean something. I was like, it's okay, James, life is unfolding perfectly. No, it's not! It was like, that was what was going on in my head. And then the guy said, you need to bring it into Apple. I said, okay, it's impossible to can you get me an appointment right away? And he said, I can get you one at 2:00 at the Grove. And I was like, I'll be there. So I go to the Grove. I drive to the Grove. It was actually pretty, and the fountain was there. I was like, you know what? Maybe this just is why I needed to get out and see the world today. Because in my head, I'm still screaming. So I get there. The guy, I sit down, and I say, James Mellon, and this guy literally walks right up and goes, Mr. Mellon, I'm here. I'm going to help you. He sits down, calm, in English accent, perfect, very sexy. It's great. He sits down next to me, starts talking to me about my computer, and he explains what's probably going on. And then he plugs it in, and he looked like he was going to just turn my computer on and fix it. And he plugs it in, and then the little thing comes up, and he goes, oh. I said, well, that's why I'm here, because this little exclamation point. He goes, okay. He said, and then he does all this other stuff, and he's starting to do everything I did for the last 2 hours. And all the things are coming up, and finally he just looks at me, he goes, how important is the data on your computer? And I was like, well, let me see. I'm in the middle of 3 screenplays, 2 musicals. They're all on the computer. I said, but it's okay. I back everything up to the iCloud. And this look on his face, he said, can you give me your iCloud information so I can go see that all of your stuff is backed up? I said, sure. He pulls it up, and I said, there it is. And he says, that's your desktop? I said, yeah. He said, click on it. I click on the desktop. It's my old desktop. And I say, that's weird because that's the old desktop. The new desktop usually is right above it. He went, yeah, there was a little glitch. Your iCloud stopped backing up your computer about a year ago. So I'm sitting in an Apple, and I'm like, in my head, I am like one of those scream pictures, like, ah! And I'm just like, okay, that's all of Bells Are Swinging, the entire new rewrite I did, all of an unfinished song that I just finished putting into the computer for 8 hours, all the rewrites of that, all of it's gone, you're telling me. He was like, yeah. I said, uh-huh. Yeah. All my classes, Q Vitality, everything, all my final 2 classes of Q Vitality, all of it, everything's gone for the last year. All of Advanced Consciousness, everything, all the weddings, all my funerals, everything, all gone. You feeling bad enough yet? Yeah. You know, it doesn't get better, so don't expect a happy ending. So he says to me, if you leave the computer for 48 hours, we'll be able to reprogram it. You'll get your computer back. It'll be totally fine. And I said, and the data? He said, no, that'll all be gone. And he said, and it was very funny because it was like, I felt like I was in a sci-fi. He was like, so would you like to proceed? And I was like, no. I said, no, this data can't be lost. And he said, well, there is a gentleman, a company in Austin, Texas, who are the standard data recovery people. If they can't get it, no one can't get it. And I thought, Austin, Texas, makes perfect sense. And so I said, okay. He gave me the number. He said, just go send it to them. If they can't get the data back, then your data's lost. So I did it. I just got in the car. I went, see, my life is unfolding perfectly. I could have unfolded perfectly 2 days ago, but okay. So I sent it to Texas, and Kevin and I sent it to Texas, and guy called me the next day and said, well, yep, we got it. Everything's good. We're going to get into it. Then he sent me a little email at the end of the day saying, we haven't been able to open it yet, but we're confident we can get in there. So then on Friday, that was Thursday, Friday, I'm in rehearsal all day, so I really didn't have time to think about it. But I called right at the end of the day, and he was like, do you think it's possible that Apple erased your hard drive and didn't tell you? And I said, anything's possible, but I was right there, and I could never get the computer open, so I don't know how they could have erased it. He said, okay, we have a number of more tricks that we're going to try. He said, but we'll keep going. So now I haven't heard anything since. And that's my entire talk. Thank you. Because I can't think now. I have no computer to write my talk on. So, no. No, because that's really not what that story was about. That did happen, and that is still happening. As turned out, I had sent the rewrite of Bells Are Swinging to my writing partner, so I have the rewrite of Bells Are Swinging. And I've sent Unfinished Song to all the actors. So, because Kevin's like, we do have the script. You sent it to all of us. I was like, oh, dear God. So we have the script. So those 2 things, all the other things, See, here's the real talk. The title of my talk today is Untethered. And here's why it's called Untethered. Because I had no idea how freaking attached I was to my keyboard, to my computer. And when it was gone, and I had no references, nothing I could look back on. I didn't even have a computer because Kevin needs his computer because he's so attached to his computer. But he needs to do his work on his computer too. And people are giving me computers to use that I could use, and none of them are working. There was a moment. There was an absolute moment where I had this. I can't even explain the feeling. It was a horrible loss feeling that was covered up instantly by a freedom, an emotional freedom. I was like, so I've lost everything. If everything's gone that I did in this last year, maybe all of that wasn't that important. And maybe I'm attached to the wrong data. Maybe it's the data that is holding me back because it's telling me who I think I am, much like what Amy said. And I was like, what am I going to do now that I have all this free time? I have all this time. I can't sit down and do this. I can't write this. And I just got to tell you, I was so freed up. And I'm not trying to tell you all you should all throw out your computers at all. But I am thinking maybe we're a little too attached to our devices. We're a little too attached to what we think we have to be doing all the time. And I think we're a little attached to having to be doing something all the time to keep ourselves occupied. Because unoccupied, untethered from that world out there, my heart began to overflow. And by Friday night, when I got to actually be physically present in my play, it was the most freeing experience I've ever had, to be in that way, and to know that there was nothing beckoning me or calling me or waiting for me to get back to. And I hope you can feel what I'm expressing today. This quote is by Michael Singer, who wrote The Untethered Soul. He says, "The day you decide that you are more interested in being aware of your thoughts than you are in the thoughts themselves, that is the day you find your way out." Now just let that sink in for a minute. The day you decide that you are more interested in being aware of your thoughts, being aware of your thoughts, than in the thoughts themselves, now you found your way out. You're no longer being trapped by what's being said to you, by what's being read to you, by what you're reading, by the thoughts you're even having. You are stepping back and being a participant in this glorious thing called quantum reality. And it's less about getting caught up in the world of form. I now, in Quantum Vitality, I came up with something that really, really surprised me when I came up with it. Let me go to this slide first, though. This is a great slide by Dale Carnegie. People rarely succeed unless they have fun in what they are doing. Because I wanted to bring this back to fun, too. You know, I have fun teaching science of mind. I have fun teaching quantum metaphysics. I do. I have fun doing that stuff, which is why I think I am good at it. Why I not to tote my own horn, but why I am so passionate about it, which is why it comes off as being interesting, because I'm interested. Do you ever have somebody who's trying to teach you something that they're not interested in? Oh, it's torture. It's absolutely torture, right? I had a guy who taught Shakespeare in college, at LaSalle College. He hated Shakespeare. He told us that at the beginning. He said, "This was the only class that was left. I'm teaching it. I hate Shakespeare. You all do too, probably, but let's get through it." I was like, oh, this will be a fun semester. Yeah. So people rarely succeed unless they have fun in what they are doing. So if you want to be successful, then start enjoying what you're doing. And if you're not enjoying what you're doing, stop trying to be successful at it. There's something to think about. It's like that thing. If you can't put your heart in it, take yourself out of it. And then I pulled this slide up just because I liked it. If you obey all the rules, you miss all the fun. Katharine Hepburn. Now, I picked this slide for a reason. I don't want to be up here telling you all to just screw all the rules. There are no rules. Know the rules and follow the rules are two different things. I think we get caught up in the rules. And I'm comparing this to my computer. We get locked into something. And we think that's the only way to do it. That's the rule. It's not a rule maybe that the government gave you or that your parents gave you, but you've made it up for yourself. This is the way I live my life. This is how I do it. I know them, but I don't always have to follow them. And there are times when it is imperative, certainly in today's world, where you do not follow the rules and you speak your truth, where you have to stand up for what you believe, even if someone's saying this is the way it is. And I think that's important. So I think that was an important slide. And then this one. It's kind of fun to do the impossible. Walt Disney. So I was working this week, last week, on Q Vitality, Quantum Vitality. And we're doing this futurizing, and Doug did a beautiful meditation before service. And I'm sorry, I wanted to send out an email last night letting you know what he was going to do, and I didn't really have time to. So next time we will let you know when that's going to happen. But he did a brain-heart coherence meditation today, which was helping us bring our brains into our hearts and come from one place. And we've been working on that for the last 3 weeks in Quantum Vitality. And suddenly when I was in a meditation one day, I had this thought. And that's where this quote comes from. It's so much fun to do what seems impossible. You all know you have a conscious mind, right? You all know when you're awake and aware and you're using your conscious mind. I'm using my conscious mind right now, right? But you all know you have a subconscious mind too, right? In your subconscious are your beliefs, all your memories, the past, all of your emotions, your feelings. All of that is in the subconscious of your mind. You're not really generally aware of it. Do you ever get into a mood where all of a sudden you're in a mood and you don't know why you're in that mood? Because your subconscious has reached up and answered something you're doing consciously, right? And you cannot be aware of it. So I was like, well, if we can do brain-heart coherence work, why can't we do conscious mind, subconscious mind coherence work? And I'd never heard it before. I looked it up. I didn't see anything. I was like, oh, maybe I could be the conscious unconscious guy. And so I decided to try it. So I did. I went into a half-hour meditation where I was very aware of everything, and then I just dropped in and let things come up from my subconscious, and then lived there simultaneously, consciously dealing with my subconscious, where I was really, and part of it is backing, when I always say back it up and ask yourself, why do I feel that way? That's dipping into your subconscious. But I wasn't really doing the work that way. I was in a meditative state, allowing my subconscious and my conscious to kind of come together. And I'm paying attention to it. And then I spent the entire week, not just in meditation, but constantly reminding myself, asking myself to be aware of why I was saying what I was saying, why I was feeling what I was feeling. And I really brought a coherence to my conscious mind and my subconscious mind. My reactions were different. My feelings were different. I had greater success at what I was doing. It was pretty amazing, and then my computer broke down, which also helped to give me a perspective on everything. So this idea, Michael Singer's idea, his quote about paying more attention to your awareness than the thoughts themselves, because here's the thing. Those thoughts are coming from somewhere. Right? Your thoughts are coming from somewhere. And the fun is finding out, where is that somewhere? Can you follow this? So your thoughts are coming from somewhere. We get trapped in the thoughts themselves, and they take us on these particle journeys where we're in the relative world and we're living out here, but those thoughts came from somewhere. And for me now, the fun is, where did that come from? And what made it happen? So much more powerful. And now you're seeing these things the way Ernest Holmes tried to teach us to see them, in an impersonal manner. They don't have heat anymore. They don't have the juice they usually have, because you're coming from creativity. So you're like, oh, that pissed you off. Oh, I know why. Oh, that makes perfect sense. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. Some of you were like, what? Anybody not getting this? Because I'll simplify it. Do my best. Good, you all get it, right? Great. So I'm going to ask you to really think about that, because it's like doing the impossible, being coherent with both your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, bringing them together to one place. I started thinking to myself, maybe we're meant to constantly be in both places at the same time. Maybe we have just evolved over the years as a way of saving ourselves by constantly wanting to live out here and react out here, because it's so much easier than living on the bigger scope, than taking on the moniker of I am the quantum field, thinking and breathing and creating, right? So losing my computer, while it upended my life, it did give me a very different perspective. So here's my new acronym for fun. You ready? Yeah. Forever understanding nothing. Diane, what you think about that?
It's a lot to unpack.
forever understanding nothing. Being willing to pay attention to what's there without judging it or putting it in a box, or not giving it permission to be wrong, or not giving it permission to turn the corner and expand and be something else. Because I think we understand way too much. And yet, if I step out of the box and step into this world, that somewhere that I was talking about, another song from West Side Story, if we do that, we just have such a much bigger perspective of everything. So, untethering myself to what I know, or what I think I have to know, or what I think I have to accomplish, or what I think I have to create, just drop it all. Let it all go. Let this field that we all say knows exactly what it's doing, let this creative entity, this creative substance that is who I am, drive me, live me, move through me, and give me permission to hear it. And give myself permission to hear it, to surrender to it, and to see where it takes me. That's the fun. I'm never going to be disappointed because I'm never going to know. There you go. Forever understanding nothing. So how could I be disappointed? I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting the great. And like Amy said, if I'm expecting the fun and the great and the success and the passion and all that stuff, then that's what's going to show up. I will be in Ralph's and some woman will dance with me. I know it wasn't Ralph's, it was somewhere else. Target? Old Navy. Target. Yeah. I love Target. Okay, my final slide is Ralph Waldo Emerson. We've seen this slide many times, but after everything I've just said, read it now. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. So what lies in you is a conscious awareness of everything you've learned, Dr. Eric, which is a lot. Everything you've learned, right? And everything that brought you to this moment in time. But you know what else is there? Because we usually go there. Here's the present and everything that brought me here. But you know what else is there? Everything that's coming after this. Because there is no time. Not really. It's just one continuum. So if it's all there, why make any of it any more important than anything else other than, as Michael Singer writes, being willing to be aware? And that's really what we're doing here. Becoming more aware, more awake, more focused on right here, right now, that everything is absolutely possible. Untethered. I got to tell you, lose your computer for a week. See what happens. It was really remarkable. I mean, I will be very honest, I started in hysteria. I mean, you got to all expect that. I started with like, oh my goodness. Yeah, not that word though. And then, but then as I did my work and my meditations, I became untethered. I became free. I was like, what am I holding on to? What do I think is on that computer that losing it means I've lost something of myself? I can't ever lose anything of myself because who I am is not particleized. Who I am is one whole thing, this entire universe, right here in this body, in this mind, in this consciousness. So reminding myself of that, remembering who I am, there is nothing that I can lose. There is only that which I can gain when I have fun living my life forever, understanding nothing and knowing that in the center of all of it, I know everything. And so it is.